Okay, let's take a deep dive into something.
Yeah.
Well, something pretty unique. Forget digging deep underground. Just picture the earth itself, kind of oozing black gold right onto the surface.
Yeah, it sounds almost mythical, doesn't it? But it's absolutely real.
And that's what we're exploring today.
Yeah.
The Dehloran Tar Spring in Ilam, Iran.
It's a truly incredible site. And, our sources, various articles, some research papers, they really map out its story, its unique nature, its deep history, its importance.
Right. So our mission here is basically to peel back those layers, understand what makes this spot so special. We're looking at a place where, well, geology, history, culture, it all literally bubbles up.
It's a fascinating mix, absolutely. And to really get it, I think we have to start with the sheer natural phenomenon itself. People have called it nature's own asphalt factory.
Nature's asphalt factory.
I like that.
That paints a picture. Okay, so walk us through it. Where exactly is this and what does it, look like?
Well, you'll find it about 7 kilometers outside the city of Dehloran. That's in Ilam province. It's near Siaku Mountain. And it's actually inside the protected Abgarm Forest Park area.
Oh,
And it's also officially designated a National Heritage Site. That tells you something.
National Heritage. That adds weight. And when you say spring, are we talking like a little puddle or is this big?
Well, it's definitely on a larger scale than you might first picture. The whole complex, the area around the springs, covers about 85 hectares.
85 hectares. Wow.
And there's one main spring, quite big, about 9 meters across, and then 3 smaller ones nearby.
Okay. And how does this black gooey stuff actually get to the surface? What's the process?
It's basically natural tar bitumen bubbling or sort of oozing up from, geological formations underground. What's interesting is that it often mixes with warm water, which is also coming up in that area.
Warm water, too.
Yeah. And as this tar water mix flows out, it combines with the soil, sand, gravel, whatever's around it. And that natural combination is what actually creates the asphalt.
Huh. So it's not just tar appearing, it's literally making road stuff right there.
Precisely, yeah. And the activity, it isn't constant all year round. The sources say it starts up in the spring season and then the flow really increases. It peaks in the hot summer months.
Right. Heat makes it flow better, I suppose. Is it a significant amount coming out?
They mention a volume of around 10 liters of liquid tar surfacing each day. It sort of appears on the water surface in the springs, and then over time it forms layers that solidify as they hit the air and mix with sediment.
I bet you can smell it from a ways off.
Does
it have that strong, characteristic tar smell?
Oh, definitely. The sources are quite clear. A strong tar odor is very noticeable when you get close.
Okay. And I read something about a fence around the spring. What's that about?
Yeah, there's a roofed fence around the main spring area. Its main job is, well, practical, keeping animals from getting stuck in the tar.
Makes sense. That would be awful.
It would be a real hazard, yeah. But, for visitors, it also acts as a clear marker, helps you find the actual spring within the larger park.
And you said this is all inside a bigger protected zone.
That's right. The spring's located within the Abgarm Forest Park, which is a protected area. And this park, it's known for its biodiversity, things like bats, quite significant populations. They even have a famous bat cave nearby.
Bats, okay.
So along with the hot springs also in the park, this tar spring really adds to the area's importance for, ecotourism. It's where geology meets ecology.
Okay, that paints a really vivid picture of the place today. But what I find really fascinating digging into the sources is the ancient connection. This tar spring, it's not new, is it?
Not even close. I mean, this site has roots going incredibly deep. It's tied directly to the ancient land of Ilam, known historically as Alamto. Humans have been using this stuff since antiquity. We're talking thousands of years.
Wow. So ancient Iranians were using this tar. How did they even figure out what to do with it?
They were remarkably clever about it. The sources really detail how ancient Iranians were pioneers in using natural tar. Think about essential stuff like waterproofing wooden ships, crucial for sailing, or river transport back then.
Right.
They used it to seal roofs, too, make buildings watertight. And maybe most surprising, military uses.
Military uses for tar. That sounds intense. What do they do?
It does raise interesting questions, doesn't it, about ancient tech and warfare. There's this account from Procopius, a Roman historian from the 6th century. He described something he called Median oil, and many scholars think Median oil was likely this kind of natural bitumen, this tar.
Okay. And what do they do with this Median oil?
Well, Procopius wrote that ancient Iranians would mix this oil with sulfur, then set it on fire. They used it as a weapon, apparently throwing it onto enemy ships. And crucially, it floated on water, setting the wooden ships ablaze.
Whoa. Like an early form of Greek fire or something?
Sort of, yeah. A very early, pretty effective incendiary weapon for naval battles.
That's an incredible story. But is there proof beyond these old texts, like actual archaeological evidence?
Oh, yes. There's compelling evidence on the ground. The work Henry Wright did at Tepe Firukabad is really key here. That site's near another old tar source, the Ainujir mine, about 12 kilometers away. His digs uncovered this thriving Neolithic tar trade network.
A trade network?
Yeah.
In the Neolithic period? For tar? That seems really early.
It is, exactly. The findings show tar was being moved from the Ainujir mine. And they didn't just ship it raw. They found evidence of processing, crushing it, heating it, adding minerals, enriching it.
Why would they do that?
Likely to make it more consistent, maybe easier to handle, or just better for specific uses, like maybe that waterproofing needed a certain mix. And a lot of this processed tar was definitely exported. They found tar at other ancient sites far away whose chemical fingerprint matches the Ainujir source, confirms this whole ancient trade route.
So this natural seep wasn't just some local oddity. It was part of a sophisticated regional economy thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
That's mind-blowing.
It really shows its enduring value, doesn't it? And that value continued much more recently, too. The sources mention that during World War I, the British saw the economic potential. They actually built a railway line near the Dehloran Spring specifically to get the tar out.
A railway for tar in WWI.
Yeah, and you can apparently still see bits of that railway today. So it's a place with this continuous thread of human interaction from prehistory right into the 20th century.
That really underlines its significance across different times. Okay, so let's shift from history to today. What's it actually like if you want to visit the Dehloran Tar Spring now? Is it easy for tourists?
Well, it is a destination people visit. Locally, they call it Kanigaw, and its location is pretty strategic, tourism-wise. It's on a key route connecting Mehran, Dehloran, and then down towards Khuzestan province. It's one attraction in a sort of cluster along that road.
Okay, so if you're traveling in that area, you could potentially hit several interesting spots.
Exactly. Yeah, along that same route, you've got other places people visit, like the Sayyid Akbar Shrine, Imamzada Abbas, those hot springs we mentioned back in the park, and the Bat Cave. The Tar Spring is sort of one stop on that itinerary.
And when someone does visit the spring itself, what's the experience like? How long do people usually stay?
A typical visit, it's not super long, usually around, say, 1 to 2 hours. Visitors can, take in the natural scenery, look at the weird geological formations, see the local plants. It's really about seeing this rare natural thing up close.
Sounds unique. But the sources also hinted at some challenges in actually getting to the spring, even though it's on a tourist route.
Yes, that's a really important point. Access isn't exactly smooth.
Yeah.
You drive from Dehloran towards the Abgarm Forest Park. You'll see a sign for the spring, but then after the sign, the path gets pretty unclear, not well marked or developed.
Ah, so maybe you need a guide.
Yeah, using a local guide or having good navigation skills yourself is definitely recommended. It can be tricky otherwise.
So it's not like pulling into a paved parking lot right next to it.
Oh, far from it. One of the trickier bits apparently involves crossing the wall of a seasonal river, which sounds like it could be rough depending on the time of year.
Okay.
And even after that, it's still a walk, roughly 300 meters or so to get to the actual spring. So yeah, it takes a bit of effort, a willingness to navigate some rougher terrain.
Right. Definitely sounds like an adventure to reach it, but maybe the payoff is worth it. Okay, looking ahead then, what's the spring status now, and what are the hopes or challenges for its future?
Well, like we said, it is officially registered National Heritage Site. That means it's under the protection, the supervision of the provincial authorities, cultural heritage, tourism, handicrafts people.
And they do have some protective measures already in place.
Yes, that fence we talked about is a key example. Protecting the site, protecting the wildlife. That's there.
But you mentioned the access issues for visitors. What other limitations or needs are there?
The big one, really, is the lack of developed tourism infrastructure. That's what's holding it back from its full potential. We're talking about needing proper, clear access routes, not just that first sign, better signage all the way. And just basic visitor facilities, rest areas, maybe toilets. That stuff is currently missing.
Okay, so what needs to happen then to sort of unlock that potential?
Well, the sources suggest a few key things. Improving access and signage, that's number one. Developing those basic facilities to make visiting more comfortable, that's crucial too. And because it's a natural site in a protected park, managing visitor numbers sustainably is important. They also really stress the need for environmental education programs for visitors.
Why is that education part particularly important there?
Because it's in the protected Abgarm Forest Park, right? An area with valuable biodiversity, like those bats we mentioned.
Right, the bats.
So teaching visitors about the local ecosystem, how to minimize their impact, that's essential if you want long-term conservation. Making sure tourism helps, or at least doesn't hurt.
Yeah, sustainable tourism.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's huge potential, but it definitely needs investment and careful management.
Absolutely. The potential for this spring to become a major ecotourism spot, drawing people from inside Iran and internationally, it's very high. But actually realizing that potential, it hinges directly on putting in the right infrastructure, managing the site well, and promoting it responsibly.
So wrapping this up, we've gone from this bubbling pool of tar all the way back to ancient trade, military history, and now thinking about future tourism.
It's quite a journey for a single spot, isn't it? It encapsulates this really unique blend, a rare geological thing, giving us tangible links to millennia of human history and ingenuity. And at the same time, it presents this really compelling case for future conservation and smart development.
It really makes us stop and think, doesn't it? How can one sort of simple, natural seep, like the Dehloran tar spring, hold so many different layers of meaning? It gives us these surprising clues about ancient civilizations, their technology, shows unexpected economic value that lasted for ages. And maybe most importantly now, it highlights that really delicate balance we need, preserving these unique, natural wonders for the future.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds you how connected we are, to the ground right under our feet and the deep, deep stories it holds.